A kingdom does not collapse in a single day. It weakens under debt, hunger, anger, and mistrust. Then, when pressure becomes too great, institutions that once seemed permanent begin to break apart. In 1789, France was one of Europe's great powers. Its monarchy was centuries old. Versailles stood as a symbol of privilege and royal authority. But beneath that surface, the country was changing. The French Revolution began with a question that became impossible to ignore. Who should hold power in France? The king, the privileged estates, or the nation itself? The answer would destroy the old order and reshape Europe. By the late 18th century, France was in crisis. The royal government was deeply in debt. Years of war and an unequal tax system left the state struggling. The burden did not fall evenly. The clergy formed the first estate. The nobility formed the second estate. Everyone else belonged to the third estate. They made up most of France, but held far less political power. Poor harvests and rising bread prices made daily life harder for ordinary families. Hunger turned to anger. Louis XVI was not the only cause of France's problems, but he became the symbol of a system that could no longer continue. In May 1789, Louis XVI summoned the Estates General to Versailles. It had not met since 1614. The king hoped it would solve the financial crisis. Instead, it exposed a deeper political crisis over voting rights. When the deadlock continued, the Third Estate declared itself the National Assembly, claiming to represent the nation. Days later, barred from their hall, its members gathered in an indoor tennis court. They swore not to separate until France had a constitution. Power was no longer seen as something that came only from the king. In Paris, fear moved quickly. Rumors spread that royal troops might be used against the people. Crowds searched for weapons. On July 14, 1789, Parisians stormed the Bastille, a medieval fortress that had come to symbolize royal authority. The Bastille was not the center of government, but its fall carried enormous meaning. The king's power had been challenged. Across the countryside, unrest spread. Peasants attacked manor houses and destroyed records of feudal dues. France was no longer only debating reform, it was beginning to dismantle the old order. In late August 1789, the National Assembly adopted the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen. It proclaimed liberty, equality before the law, and rights belonging to citizens rather than granted by royal favor. But declaring rights was easier than building a nation. France remained divided by class, religion, and political belief. Conflict over the church deepened the divide. Many saw revolutionary attempts to control the church as an attack on faith. The revolution spoke in the name of the nation, but the nation itself was deeply divided. Louis XVI struggled to accept limits on his authority. In June 1791, the royal family attempted to flee. They were stopped at Varennes and brought back under suspicion. The escape badly damaged the king's credibility. War then made the crisis more dangerous. In April 1792, France declared war on Austria, fearing invasion from abroad. In September 1792, the monarchy was abolished and the French Republic was declared. The old world was gone. In January 1793, Louis XVI was executed. France had not simply reformed its monarchy, it had turned against it. The Republic was born into war, fear, and internal rebellion. In this atmosphere, emergency politics took hold. The Committee of Public Safety argued that harsh measures were necessary to defend the Republic against its enemies. The period later known as the Reign of Terror followed. Thousands were executed after accusations of betrayal. The guillotine became the feared symbol of a movement that had once promised liberty and equality. The terror grew from war and paranoia. By July 1794, even its leaders were not safe. Robespierre had fallen. The revolution did not create a stable democracy overnight. The Directory followed, struggling to bring order. In 1799, Napoleon Bonaparte seized power, promising order. In one sense, the revolution ended in military rule, but the old France could not simply return. Feudal privileges were gone. The monarchy had been shattered forever. The language of citizenship, rights, and equality had entered political life with a force that could not be erased. Its legacy was never simple. It brought liberty and violence, hope and fear, reform, and repression. The revolution remains a great turning point because it asked, what makes a government legitimate? Can freedom survive violence? France fractured under inequality, debt, hunger, political exclusion, royal failure, war, religious division, and revolutionary ambition. The result changed not only France, but the modern world. Fault lines of history. Like and subscribe if you would like to hear more documentaries about the turning points that changed civilization.